we on the interwebs?
And already?
Yep, it just muted you. All right.
I think I am already muted.
Party on.
Welcome to Zero Pre. Joined by John Lovell. John, welcome. Thanks so much for being here.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me on.
This is the Warrior Poet, and what we're doing right now is I'm going to just go ahead and do some maybe some testing here with the microphone. If anybody knows why Google Hangout is shutting me down every time I get loud, you can sound off down in the chat room. Thanks so much to everybody that is in the chat room. Appreciate you guys being here. And a lot of y'all know him. This is John Lovell. He is the Warrior Poet. He's got a pretty prolific background. I don't want to just put him into just one box. Done a lot of stuff. He's a ranger. He's a YouTuber. He does a lot of things in instructions, plus a whole lot of other stuff. John, who is John Lovell?
Yeah, I don't know. One day when I grow up, I'm gonna have a tidy, nice answer that is gonna really wow everyone. But for now, I don't know. Just yeah, I do YouTube-ish things for now. And we just you're tracking all the gun drama with the different policy changes and stuff. So you introduced me as a YouTuber today, but we'll see what tomorrow holds. So yeah, I do firearms tactics instruction around the country. That keeps me pretty busy. Run the society. Anyway, got our website and a bunch of different social media platforms. Shoot a lot. Try to be a good dad. Love the wife. And yeah, man, there you go.
Well, you're doing a bunch of stuff. What's the fun part? What are you really enjoying? I'm sure there's a lot of things you're enjoying right now, but what's really popping for you right now? What is really, really getting your attention?
Yeah, sorry, but as soon as you ask, I'm like, man, my family is probably the good stuff. I don't know. I really like meeting folks and hanging out with other folks in the industry. So, and just, I don't know, a lot of fun. So I like people generally speaking. Even some of my trolls, I actually really like some of my trolls, believe it or not. So someone's got to.
Well, speaking of the trolls, we got a whole bunch right now. There's a whole bunch of folks down in the chat room. There's a lot of folks that are running channels. I see a whole lot of folks I recognize, and there's a lot of viewers, and then there's a lot of new folks. So appreciate everybody. We're going to be going through some of these questions in the chat room, and the hair comments are already coming in. They're wanting to know what your daily routine like. You know it's coming.
I know, but I already thought, if I feel just totally objectified, because I'm more than my hair, it just. There's a person attached to this. And
not to me, you're not.
You know what? You just stop, man. Stop.
All right. What's the closest gun to you right now?
Man, I'm surrounded by guns. So probably just EDC stuff. So right here. I have no idea what this is. Literally, Evan, my homeboy. Hey, throw up a hand, Evan. Evan does a lot for, he's my business partner, and he literally put this in my hands a moment ago. So I don't know what this is.
Here, have that.
No, I don't want that. Let's see. How about no, let's do this one. Here, this is just good old faithful right here. This is my EDC Glock 19 and Tier 1 holster. Groovy. That's it.
Now you've talked about that gun on your channel quite a bit. I'm familiar with that holster. I'm familiar with that setup. Any day-to-day tips maybe for me? Because you were a ranger. I guess you are a ranger, and you've got a pretty prolific career as a firearms instructor, also in the military, and just plus you've been around guns for a long, long time. I've been around guns, but I've just started getting more serious in the last few years. I'm just a regular soccer dad. How could I get better with my everyday carry?
Yeah, so it is the Indian, not the arrow. Here is a just standard Glock. Oh, this is a Glock 23. This is Evan. So I have no idea what's in front of me. A Glock 19. This is fine.
Just put those anywhere, by the way.
Different sites. Man, really, it's training, and people comment all the time of like, I like the way this fits my hand, or they really like this. I'm like, man, I shoot that SIG 320 a lot better. I'm like, man, the H&K is the most accurate. I'm like, they're all equally accurate. I mean, if I can, any of them, whatever, of MMP 2.0 or the CZ P10C or the Glocks or the 320, whatever. I mean, it's just line up the sights. Don't, anticipate the shot. Don't jerk the trigger, line it up, and the gun's going to shoot really, really accurately. It's all about the same. And really, these are just tools for me. I'm not like, I don't dork out on guns. I don't like pet these and have names for them all. Actually, my AR is named Sharon Jean. I do name some of them. But still, I'm not like a crazy gun nut. They're just tools, much like a hammer or a screwdriver or something else would be. So one thing is, don't expect your modifications to have a really, profound impact on your shooting capability. If you can't shoot quickly and accurately without any of the modifications, it's not going to be abracadabra, I got my HD tritium sights, good to go now. And that's just not true. You can even play around and replace a trigger or get a stipple job. If you suck before, you're going to suck after. Again, the little upgrades and mods make tiny, tiny little improvements, but really it's kind of like putting a Band-Aid over an open sore. We need to deal with the root of the problem, which is, hey, your fundamentals are trash, or your fundamentals are okay, but as soon as you try to shoot quickly, or as soon as you introduce any stress, then your fundamentals fall to crap, or you're being inefficient with a trigger reset, or there's a whole host of other things. But suffice it to say, get training before you start modding stuff up. Now, once you have training, throwing a few little mods on there, that can help. I'm pro modification, but I just don't like to use them as crutches. They're little supplements once you've dealt with the underlying stuff. Got it?
I think I do got it. I think I'm already feeling really tactical. So what I heard you say is put as many things on the gun as possible. Is that right?
Exactly. That is you perfect.
Okay,
perfect.
Good.
This one, I'm getting a bayonet attached to it. So that's going to be amazing. So you don't even have to load it. You just run through the house and go, to try to stick people with it. I'm a little leery of carrying a bayonet in appendix. But I don't think my wife and I are going to have any more kids. So I'm just going to roll the dice on it, and see how it goes.
All right. So your channel's a lot of fun. You do a lot of different things. This week you were philosophizing on a back porch and in a rocking chair. I really enjoyed that one. That one was over in social media and on Instagram, I believe. But you do a lot of things. But really, over the last year and a half, couple years, your channel really has gotten some traction, and you've found an audience. And I really enjoy your channel. And I know I'm supposed to say that to a guest, hey, I enjoy your channel, but I do. I'm a fan, and it's really just a lot of fun. What has surprised you about YouTube so far? What's been a kind of a thing that you said, hey, I didn't know I was getting into this?
How many of us there are. We're not all, just trying to be normal people. We want to be good dads and good husbands. We work normal jobs. And yeah, we'd like to make steps to be more deadly protectors. The world's becoming a more dangerous place, and we want to be able to rise to the occasion if we were thrust into dire straits, into real bad circumstances. But we live normal lives. We're not Batman utility belts and ready to take on Charlie in our backyard or anything. We're just normal people, and we want to have fun and make steps toward a good, healthy hobby that may just save some lives one day. So I think it's just, I was just strolling through Instagram a moment ago, and I always feel like it's some middle school popularity contest of it. And I don't want to throw sense because I'm on it. I exploit that, or I use that platform. That's good business, and I do it too. But I love the gun drama type stuff that you're doing. I thought it was hilarious because it just quit taking yourself so serious, boys. Everybody out there in the gun world, and I'm in it as well. Because there's some serious stuff, but let's add a little levity. Because as serious and as tactical and awesome you are, nobody takes you that seriously. I mean, lighten up. There's a certain degree of ridiculousness that goes along with the whole gun culture, and it's okay to laugh at yourselves a little bit. And so. Anyway, we can't, we're alphas with all our guns and stuff, but there's a lot of drama too, and there's a lot of silliness. And so I like that you bring a certain degree of levity to this because it needs it. So
What I like is that you just said we are alphas. I've never been called an alpha in my life. I mean, I got Princess Leia headphones on right now. I'm like pretty much the opposite of alpha. I'm like the guy that likes hey man, I'm hanging out with John Lovell. This is awesome. Over in the chat room, a lot of stuff going on. A big hello to several doggone celebrities. The Gun Collective's John Patton just showed up and he said hey to everybody. And if I start mentioning people, I'm going to leave a lot of folks out. Now this one's a little bit serious, but I really like the question, and I've already lost it. It's already kind of scrolled up. But a moment ago, while you were talking, John, I wasn't actually listening. But down in the chat room, an individual said, "Hey, would you ask John as a Christian?" And I'll start off. I don't talk a lot about that area of my life here on YouTube, but I'm a believer. I am just proud. I think pride's probably the wrong word, but I'm a believer in the Lord. I'm not a very good Christian a lot of times. I'm a sinner. I say bad words a little too often. But somebody in the chat room said, hey, would you just maybe ask John to touch on what about the idea of taking a life in self-defense as a believer?
Yeah, I think that can be a very, very holy, good thing and righteous thing to do. So, I mean, I've written a blog about this where I was basically crafting a theology for self-defense. And it's a pretty short read on that blog as well. Maybe we could even post a link to those for people who are interested in it. But ultimately, the Bible calls God a defender of the weak. And that's what he is. A good defender is ready to, Exodus 15 says, the Lord your God is a mighty warrior. And that's a good, holy type profession to be a protector of the innocent. I think it'd be an aberration. It'd be horrible if you were to stand by. All these active shooter things are kind of on the rise. And we saw one of the good guys put down one of the shooters and minimized a lot of losses. That's just hot new headlines now as we're doing this video. But to be able to stand in that gap and to protect is a really, really big deal. And, just crafting a theology from Old and New Testament alike, both builds the same picture, but to step in the role of that protector. We love people and we're not going to let bad men do terrible things to them, not on our watch, right? And so that's a good thing. Yeah.
Shooting with Uncle Dan says, preach, bro, amen. So there's all sorts of amens going on. I think that's really interesting. Now, separate topic, and I realize this is a change here, but let me ask you this. You've been finding an audience. You said that sometimes the chat rooms maybe in your channel gets a little bit like the old Wild West, which is a lot of fun. What's one of the most fun fan, or we'll call them subscribers or viewers, interaction you've ever had in public?
So this is in the comments section, right?
Well, just for you, there's a lot going on in the comment section, but maybe when you're in public or at an event, maybe getting to meet and interact with the viewer, anything that's been fun or weird or out of the ordinary.
Yeah, there's one, and I started to ban him, but he wears boas and everything. He's a Looney Tune, man. And just, I don't know, don't tread on me hats and license plates everywhere. I mean, the guy is he's my jackwagon of the week.
He sounds like an alpha.
No, seriously, you're awesome, man. I wouldn't be on here if I didn't really, really like your stuff. There's very few things when channel producers, content producers are rarely consumers. Some people have enough time, but I really don't consume much. I don't really, I feel like I'm working 3 jobs, but usually when your stuff comes through, I'll click on it, at least watch for a couple minutes just to see who the jackwagon of the week is, at least, or just, anyway, it's fun stuff. You're going to explode, man. You're doing good. Anyway, back in the comments of, I don't know, I get all kinds of stuff. Now, I'd like to think just kind of inside the society, Warrior Poet Society, it's a little bit of a cleaner, I feel like a more respectful culture than a lot of the comment sections that I've seen, a little bit more respectful. I mean, you get, the bad trolls as well. So there is some of that, and a little bit, more intellectual as well, which is nice. So it's amazing how often I've read in the comments, and not only have I gotten good ideas for videos, but I've also learned on stuff that I was talking about, where I'd read in the comment section, be like, crap, I should have said that. That's brilliant. And so I guess it's cool that I'm here producing content for everybody, so that, hopefully I'm kind of, in the Warrior Poet, I'm onto something that has existed for thousands of years. Yeah, I trademarked the name, but the ethos, the esprit de corps has existed long before I'm around. So Anyway, I just guess I didn't expect to gain so much from folks out there that have brilliant ideas, and I'm learning as well. And folks are generally gracious. And then there's also a bunch of trolls that need to get shot in the back of the head with a BB gun. So there's some of those. I'm like, dude, you are such a moron, just an absolute moron. Or so those are fun too. But anyway.
What about a guilty pleasure gun? It's a question I like asking people because you get to handle some really, really cool firearms. And I know they're just tools, but I like talking about tools. What's maybe a guilty pleasure or maybe even a unicorn gun? What's one that's maybe outside the norms that you just think is doggone cool?
Well, man, if you're going to open up that category to fun things I played with in the military, then holy cow, Ranger Battalion, you get all kinds of fun stuff in front of, like, automatic grenade launchers, just and then wait. And then the horizon explodes. Have you ever exploded a horizon?
I have done a lot of things to horizons, but not explosion.
Exploding a horizon's pretty epic. Modus 50s and Carl Gustav. Have you ever heard of a Carl G?
What? No. What is help? Let's help our viewers out because I'm well versed.
Okay, good.
For the viewers' sake, what is a Kevin G? Is that what it was?
Carl G. Now it looks like a rocket launcher because it goes over the shoulder, but it is shooting a bullet. So technically speaking, this is a bullet. So it still is a gun, not a rocket launcher. It's not like an AT-4 or an RPG or something, but it shoots an 84 millimeter diameter. So this is 9 millimeter, 84 millimeter. So, holy smokes. The thing is, there's different stats for it. You're not supposed to shoot more than like 13 rounds in one day because it can dislodge your brain from the inside of your skull. And there's all kinds of caveat emptors with this gun. But, if I had to explain what it's like to shoot it, and it is awesome to shoot it, just the power. It feels like getting kicked in the groin and punched in the nose while someone sucks your soul out. That's what it kind of feels like. All the concussive force just pulls everything out. But even so, I know that sounds miserable, but there's still something ridiculously liberating about it. So
it sounds to me like America, and I like it.
It's hard not to shout freedom at the end of it. So yeah.
How about maybe because I think what you're getting to do and travel and all the training you're doing, and I follow along in your often I follow along on your calendar on your is it the Warrior Poet Society.us or Warrior Poet Society.us?
Yeah.
For folks that are watching this on repeat, because a lot of folks are going to be watching this, I'll put links down in the description to all of this after the show is done recording. But I follow along on your calendar and you're traveling all over the place here and there. What's something that all of this between your instructions and YouTube that you've gotten to do that's been a real, maybe a blessing for you or been kind of exciting? And have you ever just said, pinch me, I can't believe I'm getting to do this?
Yeah. So people would think like, yeah, you get to shoot guns and man, I've been running and rocking and rolling with guns for a very long time now, so much so that really firearms, they've lost their charm for me. And even the shooting or the instruction there of shooting can be pretty fun. But even when I go to the range, a lot of times, sometimes that feels fun, but a lot of times that's work as well, just like your job, whatever your job is. If you do it enough, eventually it would just kind of denigrate into work, right? And so a lot of it's work, and granted, it can be fun. But still, the traveling, it takes a toll. The cool thing for me, the big payoff is when you meet a group of dudes who don't know each other and they weave in some friendships. They learn, you see light bulbs come on and they become better protectors in front of your eyes. And I get to play a part of that. That's a big deal to me. So my excitement in teaching is anchored toward their progress and their excitement. So if they're excited, I'm pumped, I'm elated. And so really it's kind of the heart of a teacher more. I really like people. I really like helping them out. But like the teaching of guns is just kind of like, man, I just as likely be interested in, talking philosophy or some theology. I'd rather be teaching some, I don't really care. I want to help people. And this is one way that I've become able to really, really quickly, like look down the range and 6 shooters deep. I'll see 3 problems from different people at the same point and just kind of finding that one thing where in a few seconds, I'll make you faster and more accurate than you ever have been in your life. I've been able to just find that little element for everyone and efficiently switch them and change them. And help them and make the light bulbs come on. That's the payoff for me. And that's real cool. That's fun.
We have some decision makers and people that own facilities that are in the chat room right now and maybe watching this on recording. Several people have asked, hey, John, what needs to happen to maybe get you to come and do a class in a specific city? How does that process work? How do people get in contact with you? Or are you open to looking at things like that?
Sure. So best thing to do is go to my website, and there's a training page. If you go to the bottom of the training page, it'll list all the kind of requirements, the things that I'm looking for in a venue. And then you'll email support@warriorpoetsociety.us, or just go to the contact page and be like, hey, interested in the venue. And if it works and looks good, then we start making plans to head on out there.
Time Traveler or Time Travel 1911 says, other than Christ, who's one of your favorite all-time warrior poets?
Well, why did you take Jesus away? That's a good one. That's a good one. Man, King David is probably a really good one. You know, just King David probably.
Why?
For those people who don't know King David, I mean, like, well, how he was a murderer, and he was terrible, and he was probably a better man than I'll ever be. He, you know, the kind of point of every biblical, history, the history of David is a flawed individual, just like everyone else in the Bible except Jesus. So everyone's wearing black hats except him. He's wearing a white one. And David was the greatest worshiper in the Bible, and he was also the greatest warrior, you know, arguably. He killed his tens of thousands of people and is still composing songs in the desert. So move with, anyway, kind of the whole picture. There's a whole lot of people that I could really identify with, but that's probably one of the heavy ones. So I've done a review on him as well on my YouTube channel. But,
what are you reading right now?
I am reading some in the book of Romans and meditations on violence. Oh, and I just started Marcus Aurelius, his meditations. So, yeah.
Was he one of the Backstreet Boys?
Yes, he was. He did some NSYNC stuff a little while, but
I like it. All right, here's something that we do that each week on Zero Prep Gun Fun, and by like the name says, there's zero prep, zero plan. We just jump in here and do it. And so John didn't know I was going to do this, but I'm going to flip the interview. You are now in charge. What questions do you have for me?
Fantastic. So where do you see your channel going?
I don't know. Like, people think there was like this big major plan with Gun Gossip, and people are like, wow, I really think that you're really sending a message to the masses, and that you really, like, you're making a statement. Like there was like 12 minutes of planning that went into it. I'm having a blast, John. I don't know what's going to happen, of course, and it's already going through the chat room tonight. There's a lot of politics going on, and there's just a lot of stuff going on. What I want to do is I want to talk guns. This one just came in today. Brownell sent that over. I think you know what that's going to be, and I don't, but I think it's going to be cool. So I want to keep doing gun stuff, and I want to just keep having fun. People ask me, where am I going with Gun Gossip? I just want to have fun. Like, people think it's a real gossip channel. No, I just kind of, like I told you before we click play on the recording, that I just think I'm celebrating a lot of folks, especially you.
Cool, man. All right. Well, what's 180-second ideas mean?
What it is a poorly named channel. When I first got started, I didn't know that I was just going to be doing guns. And so I thought I was going to be doing three-minute videos. And I did that for a long time. I did some movies. There's a lot of things. Like, as you know, there's a lot to life. It's not just being in one little box. I love movies. I love books. I love a little bit of philosophy. I don't talk about that publicly because most people with an Appalachian accent shouldn't talk philosophy out loud. But there's a lot of things I like doing. And so it's supposed to be a 3-minute channel, and the gun thing went off. I ended up doing a quick video on the Glock 43, and it spun out of control from there. And here I am.
Cool. Who are some major influences in your life who are dead?
And they can't be that are dead.
They can't be family.
Oh, okay. I really like Dale Carnegie, and I'm walking a group of students with through Dale Carnegie's material right now.
Influence people.
How to Win Friends and Influence People. I know people make fun of that title. There's probably going to be Jack Wagons in the chat room right now making fun of that, but it's people that have never read it, and it's just basic skill 101. I think he is doggone cool. And, there's a lot of guys from war. I'm working right now again through Black Hawk Down, and there's some doggone heroes in there. I don't know if I'd call them influences, but there's a lot of people I really look up to in different areas of my life. I love Clint Eastwood, really, really love him. But has he impacted my life personally? Probably not, but he's brought a lot of value to me.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, man, that's awesome. So you just Black Hawk Down. I have a good bit of dudes I know that were there. So as you're reading the book, you'll run into some names that I know. But you come across a Struker, Jeff Struker.
Absolutely, read about him last night.
Well, he's a friend, and he ended up going back in to the military as an officer, and then and ended up landing at 2nd Ranger Battalion as the chaplain. And so when I was in Ranger Battalion, that was my chaplain, Jeff Struker.
Oh, wow.
I was in Columbus pastoring a church and stuff. But every time I think of Black Hawk Down, I think of him. And every time I think of him, I think about one of the most baller, studly prayers I've ever heard in my life. We were about to go on a mission. We're all kitted up, night vision on, just ready to roll out and try to pick a fight somewhere in the desert. And we huddled up, and this wasn't a normal thing, but we had a bunch of Rangers out there, and everybody's real spiritual right before a mission. So anyway, nobody's like, we don't want to pray. No, nobody does that. I'm like, we want to pray. I'm like, okay, we'll pray. It's like rabbits, feet, and whatever. You can be like, yeah, you're dangerous and deadly, and you got all the kit, and everybody is fine with a prayer beforehand. But anyway, this was a rare exception where there was going to be a prayer right beforehand. But we bowed our head, and this was the only line I remember. He says, "And Lord, may we just bathe in the blood of our enemies tonight."
Golly.
I remember head down, just doing one of these, like, oh, just kind of looking up, like, really? This is okay. I mean, I'm down. I'm good. Yes, sure. But can you say that? Can you say that to God?
I think he just did. All right, there's a lot of stuff that you do on camera that looks just doggone cool. What does not come easy to you in shooting sports or in your career?
Selling the merch. Selling the merchandise. Let's see. I'm probably a shooter like 4th or 5th. I'm a tactician first, so I love room clearing more. I know, right now competitive shooting and just Insta fame kind of leads the tactical community by the nose, I believe. And so we're constantly always preparing for that, Wild West duel where somebody says, go, and you draw and present, shoot one round, reload, and shoot one round again, little sides, kind of like we're preparing for this fight. Those are good skills, and I'm not bad at those skills, but really, if you're going to ever get in a fight, it's in and around structures. It's basically a room clearing problem. So people don't know the timing, the positioning, how to basically interact around structures. You're getting a shootout around banks or whatever else. That's kind of my bread and butter. Shotgun is something that I'm not naturally, or that's not something I've invested the time. Shotguns were always something I used for breaching. But I don't know tactical shotgun stuff. Pistol as well. I'm not like a huge hulking guy. So to manage recoil real well, I've got to have everything in perfect. And even still, I'm never going to manage recoil like Steve Fisher, with his big banana hands. He makes like a 34 look like a 43, so anyway.
All right, we're on YouTube. I know you got a lot of other things in your life, but let's talk about just about YouTube for a few minutes. When was there a moment or a season, a chapter when you knew that it was taking off and you were finding an audience? When did you know you were a hit?
I don't know that I'm a hit now.
Oh my gosh, look at you. Look at that beard. Look at that hair. You are a hit in my book.
I don't know, man. I think it has more to do with something that people really needed rather than something I really embodied or did right. It's kind of like I was the first to stumble out in the open and say, hey, why isn't this here? Can't we just be real with, guns and just down to earth and thinking and maybe have a little bit of fun? And I think that there was a need for just kind of that authenticity to be able to be a real person and happen to be into guns as well without, the kind of male bravado that usually evokes and a lot of the silliness too. So I don't know. It may say something more about the followers than actually anything I'm doing right.
Is Grand Thumb Mike, is he as cool as I think he is? Is he as cool as I have him hyped up to be in my mind?
I don't know how cool you have him hyped up to be in your mind.
Oh, it's up there. Like, look at the guy. He's amazing.
Yes. So I've only ran into him one time. I ran into him at SHOT, and he booked himself like meetings back to back to back. So he was, basically running around like a chicken with his head cut off at SHOT. And I'd wanted to hang with him a little bit. And anyway, we just barely got these short little moments where we'd see each other. So I haven't really hung out with him, but I'm sure, I can tell the guy's awesome. But anyway, I see what everyone else does is on YouTube, and I don't really watch much.
Well, a lot of folks who do YouTube a lot, people are surprised that we don't have time to watch a ton of YouTube. So let me ask you this. What in your personal life would maybe some of your viewers be surprised about? What do you do maybe on a day-to-day basis that people may not expect from John Lovell?
Let's see. I don't know. I'm pretty open on channel. Let's see. Some of usually this is privileged information, but typically we go around a circle at the beginning of my classes, just a real quick icebreaker, get to know each other. And one of the ones I usually lead with is, a kind of interesting thing of like, I like musicals, man. I love some of my favorite movies in the world are musicals, like Les Miserables. Amazing. I just saw The Greatest Showman with Hugh Jackman. Holy cow. I got the soundtrack immediately. I like a lot of the little kids musicals as well, like Moana. I watched that over and over. Anyway, it was so good when I took my kids. I took my wife back, and we just watched it on a date night, just the two of them. La La Land was amazing. Evita was incredible. I'm not like a Fiddler on the Roof, Oklahoma. Not as much that. No Sound of Music or anything. But anyway, there's some Moulin Rouge even. I mean, just there's some stuff. So a little.
What's coming next for you? What is coming up down the pipe? We got a whole lot of 2018 left to come. What do you got? I know you probably can't let all the cats out of the bag, but what do you got coming up next?
Okay, cool. So Evan just gave me a list of stuff because I suck at business. Ta-da! Surprise! I suck at business. I'm interested in the stuff that we've been talking about already, helping folks. But all right. So we've got hats, which are coming out. Those are way overdue. We've got a Raven stand, which is amazing. It allows you to take a steel base that the base holds up a rubber dummy, a paper IPSC target, or a steel plate. And so you can all kind of carry it in one hand like a suitcase, but you can flip all three out. Custom knives coming, belts coming, and then we've got tumblers as well. So there's some product stuff. There you go. Colonel Blades, Colonel Blades as well. These things are the jam. So anyway, beefing up the website with product. How about that? The other thing is we've been rebuilding the site very aggressively over the last 4, 5, 6 months. Hired some more programmers because I plan on hosting my own content, which means all my videos and a far, far more in-depth, like hopefully even take my classes online, which isn't as good as taking them in person, obviously. But if you couldn't get to a class, that may hold you over. That would cost something, while the other stuff wouldn't cost anything. But I do believe that we are, I think our time.
I believe, I don't know if this is for everybody, but
platforms. So
I think we're having some microphone issues coming out of John. I don't know if he needs to unplug and plug back in, but we're almost done. I appreciate everybody that is in the chat room, and a big hello to all of y'all that are in there. Whole lot of folks joined us tonight. I've been kind of following along a little bit. It looks like most people played nice. There was a few jack wagons that showed up in the chat room, but appreciate everybody. And again, if I started naming off people, holy smokes, there's too many to start naming. And we set a record tonight, John. How about that? We set a record tonight. We got 388 viewing right now. Anybody that you want to do a shout out to?
All those from the society who came over. Good job, guys. Thanks. Hey, follow this guy. He's really funny. He says funny stuff. And he's weird and quirky. He's a real dude. He's crazy, but I like him. So there you go. Sure.
Well, I had a really good time. In just a moment, I'm going to give you the final word about anything that we have missed. If you're just joining us, maybe you joined in late. I saw a couple guys just came in just a moment ago. This has been a Zero Prep Gun Fun with John Lovell, the Warrior Poet. Again, I will have links down in the description to his website as well as to John Lovell's channel. John, what have we missed?
Missed, I don't know. I think we'd have to have some parameters in a general direction and figure out what we've missed. We've gone around and around. It's been fun. So here is a word of advice. Guys, take your wives out for a date, even if you don't think she deserves it. Go have some romance and pretend like you're in high school again. Give that derriere a low 5.
You're bringing the world together. I like it. This has been Zero Prep Gun Fun. A big thank you to John Lovell, the Warrior Poet, and thank you to everybody that joined us live and are seeing this on recording. Thank you guys so much. Y'all have a good night.